Guys, Jay's a non-engineer who's launched a SaaS tool called Summarize.com, helping podcasts and YouTube hosts cut up their content, summarize it, and then market it back out on platforms. First non-line of code written in January this year. He got going, brought on a co-founder. 4 months later, they split equity 50%, 50%. Monthly recurring revenue today is called $2,000, of which 30 customers paying $30 a month is the recurring fee. They do another pay-as-you-go model that makes up another 1K on top of that. They've already grown this month in July 2023. They've already collected 3.4 million of revenue. His goal is to hit 20,000 a month by the end of the year. We will see what happens. Hey folks, my guest today is Jay Desai. He's a 3 times first marketing hire. Previously helped a startup grow from 6 clients to 400 in under a year. That's now exited. Currently co-founder of Summarize. He's built the MVP in 1 week through no code and $100, and now is head of marketing at Captivate Talent, building out inbound from zero. Jay, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So just to be clear, you're doing your own startup at Summarize, but you have a safety net. You have a backup plan. Head of marketing at Captivate Talent, huh?
Yeah, that's correct. Makes it a little bit easier. I've done the founder role before without that safety net, and it's not as fun.
Don't you have to cut the safety net though, so that you have no choice but to succeed at the startup?
Definitely. But, I have a lot of personal, I guess, risk factors as well. So, I just got a house with my fiance. We have a car, we've got other things to take care of, bills and all of those things. So it makes it a little bit easier where it feels like instead of coming from a place of I need to start making revenue as fast as possible because I need to recoup my investment, which is essentially draining from my personal bank account. To hey, we can actually make smart decisions, think a little bit more long term versus I need to collect as much cash as possible to have that safety net.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the product, specifically a customer that's using you today and how they use you.
Yeah, so we're used by a lot of podcast hosts, content creators, content marketing teams. Essentially, what they'll do is they'll drop in either their podcast file or video content, including webinars, customer interviews. And we use AI to basically summarize that. So we split it out. We give you the timestamps, quotes from each section, overall summary, title suggestions. We turn it into LinkedIn posts, Twitter threads, blog posts, just basically a bunch of stuff. And all you do is upload a file, fill out a couple of items on a form, and then we just deliver the content back to you in about 5 to 10 minutes.
And what's the average customer pay you per month to use the tech?
So our average customer pays us close to $30 a month. I think the last time I checked, our average order value is about $28.
That's great. And put this on a timeline for me. When did you launch the business?
So I originally launched it back at the beginning of January. It took me about a week to build out the MVP. We get a break actually at Captivate Talent between Christmas and New Year. So I spent that week building out a first version of the product. Launched it January 1st, and the first version was built on no code. I brought in a co-founder about 4 months in, and we've been working on it ever since together.
What equity premium do you get over your other co-founder because you took the risk 4 months earlier?
We actually decided to split it down the middle, and the reason for that is because a few other competitors started popping up as well around the same time, and I don't have a technical background, and these other competitors also had 2 or 3 co-founders. So for me, I kind of had to make a decision, do I want to get 100% of a grape or 25% of a watermelon? And I decided splitting it down the middle kind of aligned incentives. And I think that made the most sense for us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, the big question is, can the grape turn into a watermelon? Because if you know it can't, then you'd rather own 100% of the grape, right? So let's dive into that a bit more. Growth, right? So you got your first customer earlier this year, got your MVP live. How many customers are using the platform today?
So we have about 30 customers on the actual subscription, but we also have a pay-as-you-go model, and we've acquired more customers through there. So we have a total of around 70 customers that are basically have paid for the product at some point or another.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So on the recurring side, 30 customers paying on average 30 per month would put you about $1,000 of monthly recurring revenue. How much do you make on top of that for the pay-as-you-go stuff in June last month?
So last month we did about $2,000 in net volume. So that's after taking out all of our Stripe fees. And obviously we have some other costs over there as well. And then this month, actually month to date, we've already done about $3,400.
Mm-hmm. And what's your success rate in terms of converting one-off pay-as-you-go projects into monthly recurring predictable fees?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. Honestly, the pay-as-you-go users end up sticking on closer to a pay-as-you-go plan because their content needs are usually changing. Like we just had a customer actually today that just did another pay-as-you-go. So I wouldn't say like it's a fair, even like conversion. It's more of, hey, do I have like consistent content needs that I need to do repurposing? Or is my podcast video content going to fluctuate month to month? And so that's kind of where a user would make a decision whether to go for subscription or pay as you go.
Interesting. And have you bootstrapped this so far today, or have you raised capital?
Completely bootstrapped. My investment personally was about $100, which we've way more than over like got back at this point. So at this point, I kind of consider it as I'm playing with house money essentially.
Mm-hmm. So what would it take for you to quit the full-time gig and go all in here? Because you have competitors, to your point, working and trying to kill you that are all in.
Yeah. So for me, I think our goal for the end of the year is to reach about 20K in MRR. That's our big like goal. I think we're making a lot of progress over there. And that can be, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% 20K MRR. It can be 20K in net volume sales. Like I said, we're already done month to date, 3,400 this month. So that would get me to move in full time, although we are trying to be a little bit smarter about how we allocate our capital. And I'm really big on capital allocation, capital efficiency. So we are actually working with a lot of creators as well to kind of promote the product and kind of create some of that growth as well to kind of basically subsidize the fact that we are not able to put in full-time work yet into it.
Mm-hmm. What's the moat? I mean, $20,000 a month divided by $30 a month means you need to sign up over 600 customers, up from 30 today. That's a lot of growth. I mean, how do you go? Why is a customer going to pick you over all the other products that do this sort of, hey, podcast, YouTube repurposing stuff?
Yeah, so we really focus in on the quality of the content. So I've been a podcast host myself. Actually, I grew a podcast from 0 to about 100K plus in downloads. And then I've since left being that host position. That's really been acquired by the HubSpot like podcast network as well. So I've done that before. I've worked for post-production before, and I kind of know what quality is kind of needed as well to not just kind of check the box off of doing the work, but also kind of generate results as well and grow your audience and actually build something effective with your content. So that's really what the moat is that we're going on, is that we feel that we can solve the problem better than anyone else can. A lot of these other competitors are kind of just checking the box on content repurposing, but that doesn't mean you're going to get extra results and actually drive revenue or customers at the end of the day. And that's what we're really focused on.
Mm-hmm. And what are your all-in expenses monthly today? Are you guys profitable?
Yeah, we are profitable. So our burn essentially per month is about $250. The last time I checked, this month, we might be actually closer to about 300 or 325. But yeah, we are profitable. Everything that's coming in, like I
Well, that's
said,
you not
most of that
paying
money's
yourself
coming.
and your co-founder. It sounds like not paying him or herself either, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So I guess how did you convince whoever your partner is to effectively work for free?
Yeah, so we had actually worked on a project for a little bit a couple years ago. So I worked on another kind of startup that kind of crashed and burned. I got a decent amount of traction, but wasn't monetizing at the beginning, which was a
What was the
mistake on
name
my
of that?
part. Swipely.
Okay.
So I started that, and then I tried to see if he wanted to join on. I found him through Indie Hackers actually, and he was like, "This project really isn't for me. Let's try something new from scratch." This was kind of when at this point I was drawing from my personal bank account, and I was kind of put into like a stressful kind of position in terms of not generating enough revenue to support what I needed. And so we worked on a new product together for a little bit, didn't really see much traction, and I kind of took a full-time job. That's the one that's at Captivate right now. And
Mhm.
then I reached out to him about 4 months into launching this new product, Summarize. And I said, "Hey, I have like 5 customers over here. Here's the MRR value. Here's how much money I've made. And I think this has a lot of legs on it. There's some competitors popping up. Are you interested in getting in this space, like getting involved?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, I believe in the product. I think we work well together." So that's kind of how we decided to partner up.
You price per number of minutes. So why is that?
So the reason that we do that is it's basically based off of our cost. And also it makes a lot more sense for the end user. If you kind of think about content repurposing and changing things up, it takes way more time to go through an episode that's 60 minutes long than it does for 15 minutes. So that's one part of it. And then even our costs as well, how our costs come out, our costs are generally fluctuating. Our variable costs are basically fluctuating based on how long content is. And so it makes a lot of sense for us to charge per minute. We actually did it first. So I started per minute, and then now basically all the other competitors are also charging per minute as well.
I mean, it's hard for me to follow the whole per minute thing because, like, you don't want to charge for your time, and it sounds like you're not using software necessarily to generate these videos. There's real humans doing work here. Is that accurate or not?
Yeah, so we're using the software for it, and then we actually charge per hour. So obviously, like we have like an estimate per minute, but it basically we charge per hour. So you're either getting like 2 hours per month, 3 hours per month, and then we have like different bulk pricing options, smaller pay as you go
That's
options.
3 hours
Yeah,
though of end produced video. So if I get a 30-second video, that counts against the 3 hour total allocation.
yeah. So if you submit a 30-second video, we'll take off 30 seconds from your account.
Sorry, what I'm asking is 3 hours the time it takes you to do the work, or is that the end number of minutes produced by Summarize?
That's the end number of minutes. So like essentially the way that we're charging. So for this podcast episode, if it's 15 minutes, so typically what happens for a user is they'll basically go into their podcast recording software. If they're using Zoom or Riverside or something, they'll record an episode. Let's say it's like 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe their editor trims out some parts of it. Let's say it goes down to like 15 minutes. They upload a file that's 15 minutes long. We basically charge them for that 15 minutes against whatever either
Yeah.
subscription
So
or
it's
free
not
minutes
the
that
end
they have.
produced. If you watch that 15-minute Summarize does, and you then create a 30-second promo, they're counted 15 minutes against the 3 hour a limit, not 15 seconds, not the end timeline.
Yeah, so we're repurposing that whole episode. So we're creating social content across that whole episode. We're creating like a blog across that whole episode. So we look at basically all of the audio from that entire episode.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And just there's two of you today, or is there more?
Just two of us right now.
Two of you guys. Great. And cool. Bootstrap today. You have a couple $100 of your own money in. You're scaling. You want to get to 20,000 a month by the end of this year. I guess give me some secrets here for podcast hosts that are listening in. Right. You work with our friend Alina. at Chili Piper. The folks that are using short form content to promote longer form episodes, what are they doing the best in terms of actually growing their number of downloads and audience?
So in terms of what they're doing, they're just kind of posting in multiple places. So that's like a big part of it as well. And then also optimizing how you post. So for instance, we provide keywords as well. So if you use podcast hosting, there's that section when you upload your episode where you can kind of put in your keywords. Having a good title also can make a difference. Having the right description can make a difference. So that's a part of the podcast hosting. Even on the YouTube side, we provide you like a SEO or like a search optimized, YouTube optimized description, tags over there, titles as well. And then kind of posting even on social. We have very much invested in having the right structure over there to just perform versus like, big chunk paragraphs or stuff like that. I'm sure you've probably scrolled past a lot of that stuff before. Even on the email side, everything is kind of built out to how actual humans read it and how it performs. So it looks like, I guess if I had to like pull a quote from a customer that, it looks like it's been trained on the top performing creators across all of these channels, essentially.
Jay, on that note, let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, your favorite book.
My favorite book is Deep Work.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
There is a lot that I am following. I think for me being in the AI space, definitely Sam from OpenAI. So that's got to be the one.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building Summarize?
My favorite online tool, probably actually, I'd say there's a lot. Segment is actually a really good one. We haven't actually implemented it. I've done it on a couple of other products before, but it's like incredible for kind of matching that customer data together.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I get about 7 hours of sleep. Sleep is something that's super important to me. If you see me with 4 hours of sleep, I do not function very well.
All right. Situation, married, single kids. I think you're married, right?
I have a fiance, so engaged.
Very cool. No kids yet?
No kids.
All right. How old are you, Jay?
I am 28 years old, going to be 29 in 2 months.
Awesome. And last question, something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Something I wish I knew when I was 20, honestly, just get started on things. If you have an idea, just get started and figure out the rest. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's something I'm trying to get better and better at each and every day.
Guys, Jay's a non-engineer who's launched a SaaS tool called Summarize.com, helping podcasts and YouTube hosts cut up their content, summarize it, and then market it back out on platforms. First non-line of code written in January this year. He got going, brought on a co-founder. 4 months later, they split equity 50%, 50%. Monthly recurring revenue today is called $2,000, of which 30 customers paying $30 a month is the recurring fee. They do another pay-as-you-go model that makes up another 1K on top of that. They've already grown this month in July 2023. They've already collected 3.4 million of revenue. His goal is to hit 20,000 a month by the end of the year. We will see what happens. Jay, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks so much, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.